Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Pisces. So we have now the Sun in Taurus giving the light to the Moon, which is in the Moon, which is in your sign. And this is the longing to evolve. This is the longing to understand your worth, your values, and also the longing to come out of the water, the age of Pisces, through land, now going up into the age of Aquarius. I do 2 readings, and one is to the right, the everyday readings that I do connected with the spin of the sun to the right in 24 hours. And I do the full moon reading, which you get once a year in your opposite sign, which is for you, Virgo. There is this wobble the earth does, lasting 25,800 years, divided through the 12 zodiac signs. We get an age. And currently we go from the age of Pisces up into the age of Aquarius, into an air sign. I give Taurus a movement. I don't want him to sit here anymore. He is going to work active to get the information and brings it down to the people as a priest does. A priest is here to help others to understand what the spiritual message or what the spiritual energy is all about. And for you, of course, you have fish pose, down and upward facing dog. And the evolution is showing us that it's all connected, right? We cannot just be like, okay, well, this is singular and it doesn't concern me. Everything concerns you. You are the center of your universe. And if you are good, then everybody else is good. But if you're bad, then everybody else is bad. So it's like there is this energy of understanding that we want to help as many people as possible. And since you are the one sign that travels through all the other signs, the message now of the age of Pisces is to bring love to the people, bring the light to the subconscious, right? So that the moon, which is in the dark, gets highlighted and is in the dark. And the moon that doesn't have a light in its own is now getting, of course, the light from Taurus, from the Hierophant, which is the Greek word for high priest. So this is the story here, up in the sky. And of course, we will see how that is influencing you. You are the Knight of Cups, and you walk into the right spinning path. So your path is to bring the love to the people. If your birthday is between February 8th and March 11th, this is your court card. So as you can see now, he is walking really with the cup towards the world, towards that humanness. And he has wings in his head and in his feet, and he's like inspired by bringing the love to the people, right? So this is your court card through Rider-Waite. Now the deck that I'm using for you is the Marseille Tarot, and so just that you see that these are very old cards, much older than the Rider-Waite. And of course I want to learn, so I am using a lot of different decks. It's very eclectic what I do. but through that I can really learn about these cards. And so when we look at the Marseille Tarot, it is similar, right? It's not like there is a big difference. He is here also with two people, so there is this triangle, and he has the 3 stages. And with you, it's the same. The lobster comes out of the water, the wolf and the dog, 2 towers. It's just the face of the moon is actually also facing the left. So the soul is coming to you in your dreams, right? This is the dream card. So just that you see that I'm using now the cards of the Marseille Tarot to show you the path that is happening here. Now, just going back to the last reading where you had Aries Sun highlighting the Pisces Moon, 5 times 9, you're an expert now and more empowerment is given. I remember it was a very interesting reading. I mean, interesting really in the sense of like I was quite taken by it, because each reading, of course, brings to me also an understanding of myself and of what's happening in my life. And the medicine wheel and the 8 of Pentacles with the Queen of Pentacles, which then creates 9, right? Then it's 9 Pentacles, and you had 5 times 9, which is 5, the speaking of the material world that is then coming to a completion. And the 5 back then can already be seen to the 5 of the Hierophant now, as like there is something that wanted to already speak about this part or this reading. So just that you know, Taurus is ruled by Venus and is the 2nd house of value, and you are ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is the dreamer, and this is the 12th house of self-loss, right? So here we lose ourselves so that we can find ourselves again. And so the value of Taurus is literally saying, well, totally get lost, because that's what the spiritual path wants from us, to realize that this physical world of duality is challenging us forever, infinitely. The 2 towers, the 2 animals, and then we rise and we have that desire and the longing to evolve. All right, so let's begin this reading on the position of the Fool, which then here in this deck is now, you see, facing the right spinning path. Usually the Fool is on the Rider Waite, like I used to use that as a demonstration, to the left, right? So I love to have a look at these different decks now, and I want to use basically the major arcanas that I'm using in this reading from the Marseille Tarot. So it's almost like saying, yeah, the Fool is now bringing you the 3 of Wands, and the 3 of Wands brings you a Capricorn energy, Mars in Capricorn, and Mars in Capricorn was last time the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn. So there was a Capricornian energy speaking to you. Now you have Mars in Capricorn. There is this building something significantly bigger than you could build yourself on your mind, and it's the body, mind, and soul that will be excited by doing so. And it's, as you can see now, an idea that you can bring into the world, though it's the soul from deep within that is saying, well, you see this, right, happening, and you want to be part of it. That's why he's facing also now the right spinning path, the human path. on the position of the butler, the magician, we have the seer, and the seer has here the number 45, and that's a 9, right, calculated together. So we go from 3 to 9 instantly into a completion. But also we see the 4 as that moment we take responsibility for the 5 senses, which is then here Taurus, 5-5, Taurus speaking to you through the magician, through the butler. And the butler is the magician that is saying, well, I have all the tools on this table. And he is looking down to these 3 coins. You see that? He's looking down and he's like, well, yeah, I want to build that. And he has only 3 legs on his table. We don't see the 4th leg. So then we see how the seer is looking down to this corner, looking down to the right spinning path, and it's almost like the magician within you is literally seeing this project and is saying, yes, now I bring you the vision so you can bring it into the right spinning path, into the human path of it all, right? Then on the position of the high priestess, which is here called La Papesse, right? She is like the Pope, now having a name that is actually the feminine Pope, and she is looking into the left spinning path. In the Rider Waite, she's looking straight ahead, and she's between 2 pillars, and now she is not between 2 pillars anymore. She is kind of between these 2 pieces of fabric, and here comes the 4 of Cups, which is Moon in Cancer. And Moon in Cancer is that moment of Lord of blended pleasure, and the pleasure to actually understand that the 4 is connecting with this 4. So there is 2 times 4, the intuitive side of you, what the high priestess brings. She brings the intuition. The intuitive side is saying, take responsibility about your intuition and your feelings and the way you feel sometimes, and don't allow anything to make you feel that you are superior. The superiorness is then, of course, always, even in spirituality, a moment where we get trapped. And that's then usually the 5 with the 5 senses, because the 5 is, of course, always Taurus, and the 5 is the test. The 5 are the 5 senses, and the 5 senses are trapping us here in this dimension. So they are windows to the outer, but also to the inner world, and so we have to learn to work with them. And so here, the Lord of blended pleasure, right? There is something where you think, oh, well, now I have reached a state of consciousness and I am, you know, something better than everybody else. No, you got to learn to see that you have everything that you need, but don't ever become like a snob, a spiritual snob, right? Because that's what can happen also on the position of a priest or a high priestess, right? They are all of a sudden in power over an invisible world and can tell people who don't see that world, but this is how this world looks like. Well, each person has to define that invisible world for themselves. Same, the way we feel is unique to each human being. Then comes on the position of the Empress, the Sun. And so here is the Empress giving birth to the form, which is the Sun. It's almost like she is sitting here and she's like, yes, I am looking into the path of the human. And I know that the sun is the center of our solar system, but the sun gets its energy from the central sun of our galaxy, and that is Sirius is bringing the energy to the sun. It's like these impulses, right? These rays, these pushes. And so the sun is then delivering its energy to male and female equal. There is no like, okay, I only give it to the male because the male is apparently the light and the female is apparently the dark. No, I give it to both. I give it to the rich and I give it to the poor. I am neutral. I am the number 19, which is the one, right? The seer sees clearly. Yes, the magician here is the one that brings then here, the one that sees from deep within the clarity of what the sun does in our solar system. And so then the 9 in it also, of course, with the 9 then from the seer is like, here we can see, because the sun gives us the light, so we can see deep within also in the dark that there is light and that there is a lot of energy that we can reach and evolve and grow, right? Because what we see is also then giving the soul the energy to come back and wanting to come back in this life, right? Because otherwise, why would a soul come back? Why? Right? Why would a soul come back to a life that is difficult? Because where the soul is, everything is quite beautiful. And so the Empress, right? The one that is bringing really, or giving birth to all forms, right? She is that creatrix, brings to you now the sun. And in the sun is the clarity to see things very clear, right? The same amount of red and yellow rays given to these energies, given to the dualities, right? There's no separation. There's no like, oh, well, I'm better than you. No, it's that equality. And that's also what the 4 brings. There's this equality, the 2 and the 2. But sometimes we can also get stuck in that, right? So we have to always be vigilant. And then comes on the position of the Pope, the Tower. The number 16, then the 1 with the magician, with the seer, right? And the 6, which is self-love, right? So sometimes things need to break apart so that we find a deeper meaning within ourselves of love. And the Pope, or Taurus, is bringing that to you because he's the tester. He tests us, but he's also tested constantly. And that's why I decided to give him a movement, because in that he will never just sit there and be like, oh, well, I know everything. Oh, well, here I am. I am the priest. And we know how the church is being pulled apart right now, because we know that there are things that are not correct in this institution, right? And of course, there was a time when the brotherhood was formed, what do you do in a time when it is forbidden to be loving the same sex? So where do you go to live at least a little bit of this freedom? It's in a brotherhood, because there's only men in it. So of course it's like natural that things can go off, because they were treated like they are sick, or they are, weren't accepted by society. And so of course this whole institution of only men can reach the enlightenment became off, because the opposite balance wasn't there, right? It was almost like, oh, well, we take her away, and so it's just only that. But only light can burn things, can excessively bring us only in one direction. And so here comes the sun that says, well, I destroy some of your institutions and I will bring light into what's not working there. And two people are falling off, and also red and blue. Red and blue, it's always the same. It's the dualities that are challenged, right? By the one, by the sun, by that one tower, and it's 3 windows inside. It's again that triangle that also he has on his head. The number 3 is the new energy that is coming, right? 2 people come together and they create the new child, the number 1. And so here something is wanting to leave and wanting to be looked at on a deeper level, because the sun is here and it's like, okay, I'm gonna cut off this feeling of sometimes the number 4 of the building here is that we think we have achieved everything, and no, you haven't achieved anything. You gotta begin again. Each inhale and each exhale, you gotta be present. And so this is what's speaking here very strongly to you. And then comes on the position of the Knight of Cups, La Reine des Coupes, the Queen of Cups. Both face the left spinning path, and she is looking at that and she is like, oh my God, what are we gonna do, right? So you, who is the Knight of Cups, has help through the Cancer energy, through the Queen of Cups. And here we had Cancer Moon in Cancer with the 4 of Cups. So altogether we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cups. And 6 again is that you're finding a self-love. That tower is that phallic energy of the masculine is falling, and now the feminine energy is bringing love to the people. And so both of them are looking right at the falling of this tower, and they're like, oh my God, yes, things need to leave and more love needs to be brought into this life. It cannot be that we just destroy things because we think we can. And the masculine, right, has to be matched by the feminine. And so it's a very clear sign that is bringing you the evolution of like, now you become a queen, right? So you are behind that. It's like you are the Knight of Cups. You are becoming now more this feminine healer that is helping others to see that this is okay, that this is falling apart. This is good. It's needed. Things need to leave so that new things can come, right? And that's why we die, right? Sorry, I mean, it's just what it is, right? We gotta leave so that the new generation can also do their thing. So that's on the position of your place, right? And then on the position of the moon comes the Emperor. And so this is the number 4, and with this 4 you have a 4-4 portal. The evolution, the longing to evolve and to rule comes through Aries, and back then Aries Sun that highlighted Pisces Moon, 5 times 9, you're an expert now, and more empowerment is given. And so now more empowerment is given because the Emperor is coming up on the position of the moon. It's almost like, yes, you are now, from the last reading, which is that sign that you are an expert and that now more empowerment is given. You are given the empowerment to heal. You are given the empowerment to be the Emperor. And here you can see the eagle, right? He's ruled or helped by the eagle, and the Empress has the eagle as well in her shield, right? So, and on the Empress position came the sun. And so the sun that is now in Taurus is speaking about, yes, something is leaving, something needs to go, because it's not working anymore the way this institution has built the picture of a higher consciousness. And so the Lord of blended pleasure is literally like, okay, we gotta really change things. We gotta really look at this from a different perspective. And an emperor is the king of kings. And so you're getting help through Aries to bring that expertise even more to the people, because you are the one that is going in each house. You are the one that is actually recognizing, I can bring the message to each zodiac sign, right? Every 3 days, you going through the zodiac signs, and that's when I do the reading. I do the reading exactly on the day the moon is in your sign, which is today. And so I get that information through the moon, through my subconscious, and through my subconscious I can evolve and I can grow and become an emperor that is backing up the Queen of Cups, that is helping her to see what is happening here. And it's good that this is happening. And this is Mars. The Aries energy is ruled. Aries is ruled by Mars. And so we see here a very significant moment happening right now for you to recognize that you are the bringer of love. And you see how you come towards her instead of course, in the same deck, it's like he's here, right? Or he's behind her and he sees what she does and he's watching her, or she's behind him and supporting him in now seeing this moment, right? But in Rider-Waite, look at that. You see, this is what's so interesting. Why is one deck putting him to the left and the other deck putting him to the right? So then on the position of the moon as oracle card, which is you again, right? And I'm going to put this card here now, but usually it's the same. So I put this card here, comes the eyes of the eagle rising above the fray. And here you get the information, and here get the message clearly that you are sitting on the eagle, and now you gotta watch like an eagle from above. The age of Aquarius coming, because we are evolving, we are climbing, we are coming out. And so the sun back then with Aries, right, was already speaking about, yes, now you have more empowerment that is coming to you, and you can see then through the emperor's eye, right, the situation, and it's all facing the left. It's all facing actually the tower coming down, and including you, right? So it's like here we have all of them looking. Just gonna hold on, I'm gonna put this like this. They're all looking at this. I'm gonna help myself, my fingers. Not easy. They are looking at this. They're looking at what's happening here with the tower. And so you're getting through Aries quite a vision. You see it now from the crown chakra. You see it now from a higher perspective. You see that something is needing to go. And of course, it came on the position of Taurus. And so the church, or the feeling that all the institutions that are solid, that are, you know, we always have been doing it like this, and so we continue doing it like this, is leaving, because it's a new age coming, and that new age doesn't want to live like that anymore. For them, those values don't work. It's just they don't simply work. And so you got to see from a higher perspective and see the number 18. So you have an 1818 portal right through this, which then becomes a 99. And then, of course, we have 3 times the 9. So the seer sees the evolution. The seer sees through the eye of the eagle. He sees, right? Because the magician sees everything, the way we evolve, and the way the duality is helping us to see the one. And the one creates the duality, but the duality also creates again the one. And so then on the position of the sun comes here the animals, the companionship. And so in this card, it speaks very clearly about either we have an animal or we helping animals, because they are giving us a perspective that we will never have. And if we put ourselves into their perspective, we can see through the eye of the eagle, we can see through the eye of all these different animals and recognize that this is creating a whole. This is creating an importance, because the sun gives the light to all, not just us humans, but also to the animals, to the plants. And we need to recognize now that here the sun is saying, well, we gotta live together with animals, with plants. We gotta really look after the earth, because here comes the number 21. The world needs these animals. And so there is a 3 happening here, and you have the 3 here. So there is a 3 portal coming to you, that whatever you build, include plants, include the animals, include helping those that don't have the mind that we have, but they have a different vision that we have. We don't have that vision, right? Like the eagle. We are now learning to actually give the light to all, the same way the sun gives the light to all. And so here comes the tower, right? Because that came on the position of the Taurus energy of the Hierophant. The tower, something is breaking apart so that we can create new things. And that's where the sun brings clarity in this kind of, and you see how much light there is and how much beauty there is. She is sitting there and she's connected, right, with the animal. And the interesting thing here in this book, it's actually saying, and I love that, because it's saying the word of power is animalis. And in Latin, it means having a soul. So the sun is telling you, have a soul for all, right? Bring that. Because on the position of the moon was here, the moon, the 1818, right? And so you recognizing the 999 portal speaking to you, that now you are asked to have a soul and see the soul through the animal perspective. That's what the indigenous people do. They put themselves into the vision of a bird, into the vision of a snake, into the vision of a jaguar, right? And so this is why animals are important. And then comes on the position of the world here, Cancer. So the Cancer energy is here through the moon in Cancer, through the Queen of Cups, right? And so she is looking at these 4 cups, and she is recognizing, well, the 5th element is love. The 5th element is space. The 5th element is giving space to all the other 4 elements. And so here Cancer comes, and she's looking to the right spinning path, and she's recognizing, now I can successfully, through the horses, through the connection that I have with all the animals, I can bring that into the world. And she is the number 7. The 7 is the Chariot on the position here of the world, the 3. And so you see that there is the 21 here. This is also in a way the world. This is the earth that we're inhabiting with the animals. And this is a very important task, because the 3 then brings back this 3, right? And so we see why you are building something that is of substantial help for humanity to evolve. And it's like a new building is built, because that's why this is falling apart, because this is what we build again, Mars in Capricorn, a social status that is envisioned in a new way, right? So she is saying, yes, here we are reaching the goal now to bring animals into the living, co-living with us humans. We are more and more want to live together and not against each other, right? And so here you have the message why you are building something. You're building something substantial because you have also here these 4 cups, and you do have here the Queen of Cups, and you do have yourself a cup, right? And so now you get the help of her, and if I use him, he's like, yes, I am with you, right? Yes, I am bringing this cup to the people and to the animals because it's necessary. That's my work in this month, in this message of here, Taurus, right? The message, the movement is to incorporate now the animals, to see like an animal, right? To recognize that I am the seer, right? I mean, it's so beautiful. Look at that. It's like, wow. They're like, yes, this is to see that we're all united and that we have to help the world to see that and to be successful in that. Wow. Beautiful. So beautiful. I hope I see you in the next one, because that's when the sun is in Gemini, and Gemini is the lovers, is the number 6, and you have a 6 here, right? When we recognize that this is also important, then we are not afraid anymore. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.